guys, Thomas here, chasingrooseveltsoutdoors. Today's video, basically what I want to do is compare three bugle tubes that I purchased. And I got three bugle tubes that I'm going to compare, like sound quality and loudness. It's clearly snowing, it's colder than I anticipated, and I don't have a coat on, so I'm going to make this quick. So yeah, basically I have three bugle tubes, and I'll show you them right now. Get them off here. Okay, so I got the new born and raised bugle tube called the Bomb. Added a sticker to it. Initial thoughts right out of the gate was I like how wide the mouth part is. A very interesting design. I have used it a little bit, but not a ton. And then next was my older Phelps bugle tube, the Unleash, which I got it originally because of this flared end. I just enjoyed having that bit of room for my mouth. And then the third tube is Phelps metal tube with the easy read. So this call is designed basically for people that can't use a mouth read. I can use a mouth read, but I struggle with tones, certain tones sometimes, and it's mostly because I need to practice. So I got this to compare it with the Unleashed tube, and I used it all last year. What I found the most with these two tubes is that with this I can get the tones, so more of that dee higher pitch tone, and more consistently than I could with the Unleashed tube. But the Unleashed tube, in my opinion, was overall louder. It might not have hit the high note consistently and like projected it as much as I wanted, where this one does. But again, overall loudness, that was definitely louder. And then to pair it with those tubes, I'm actually going to do two different calls. So this is the born and raised, their new ARC amp. This is the September read. And then the other read I'll be using will be the Maverick by Dirk Durham. And this is my go-to read. This is also a brand new one. This read is probably the one that I use 90% of the time. Other than tone difference, I go to this one. The other read I usually use is the black born and raised read, which I do have. I don't think I have it with me, but I do have that, and I'll carry that this year. But I got this read on suggestion from Cody, and then also their red read, which is called the Land of the Free. He told me to try both of those. So for today, I'm just going to use these two. The only reason why is to show, hopefully, tone differences. And I am a little bit rusty, so bear with me. So what I like to do is I'll stand right here. I'll do 3 sets of calls. So I'll do cow calls with both reads on. So I'll do this cow call on all three bugle tubes. I can't do a cow call with the easy read. I'm just not that good with it. But I'll pop it off because it's removable, and I'll cow call through that. And I'll do that right here. And then I'll do the same with the orange read. Then I'll do very simple locator bugle as best of my ability, and then I'll do a challenge bugle the best of my ability. And I'll do that with all three, and then with the easy read, I'll use the actual easy read for the bugle part of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up over that hill a little bit and do the same 3 call tests again, but at a distance, so that you guys can get an idea of what is actually louder, what is sounding the best, and or has the best tones versus loudness. So my goal, what I want out of these is, and this is what I found is probably the most important thing, is is control of the reed, which that has nothing to do with tube, but projecting the tone, and then how loud it is. So I noticed that the handful of times I've gotten responses is not necessarily the best, like, spot on bugle. It's the high note with how loud it is, and it carries out. Anyways, let's get started. I'm going to toss, I'll start with this one actually, the Born and Raised September reed. I'll cow call a little bit, kind of warm up, and then I'll grab, and I'm going to start with the Phelps Unleashed tube for each test, because that's the one I've had the longest and I have the most experience behind. Then I'll do the metal tube, and then I'll do the Born and Raised one. So here we go, cow call. Alright, so cow calls, starting with this, into the bugles. So I'm going to start with the cow call in the bugle tube now. Not bad. Hopefully that carries. Okay, next up, metal tube. I swear it comes off. There we go. I tied it up. I'm just gonna kind of stuff that in my pocket. Alright, again, Born and Raised reed. Like I said, I'm going to go through all three with this, then I'll go back with the Maverick. Try to do the same tones, but it's kind of fun to play with. Alright, put that on gently. Last up, with the cow calls, the Born and Raised bomb. Hopefully you guys can read that. I don't have a ton of experience behind this. I got it at the Sportsman Show on the 18th. There is a noticeable difference in tone from my perspective, and to be honest, this carried, I could tell by how it's bouncing off the timber here, even with the wind, I could tell it's like projecting further forward more, but the metal tube, to me, sounded the most realistic. So let's switch over to the Maverick, go back to the Unleashed. Here you go. You can see, put the Maverick in. Wow. Might have froze a little bit. Alright, so next up, Maverick call, cow calls, metal bugle tube. Alright, that's the cow calls. Hopefully the camera picks up the difference in tones. I kind of threw it back at the house just to Hopefully some of that sound kind of comes off timber. I did a couple torques to the camera so it picks it up, and then kind of away from it to kind of give you that range from close by. Okay, next up, I'll go through with the orange reed and do my best to do a locator bugle. And I'll do the same thing. I'll do unleash tube, then I'll do the metal tube, and then a new born and raised bomb. And I'll kind of target it that way. I'll do one that way and one facing away. Not bad. I'm actually pretty impressed with how easy it is to use this reed. Alright, so I'm gonna do two things with this one. I'm gonna start with the mouth reed in the metal tube, then I'll put the easy reed on and try to do a locator with that. Not bad. That was with the easy reed. Last step will be the born and raised bomb, locator bugle, close by. Cut those ones a little short, but hopefully you're picking up the difference in tones. So now I'll switch to the Maverick, go back through it real quick. And then the last test, I'll go up over the hill and do a cow call starting with this, same series. This, unleash, then the metal, then the born and raised tube with cow calls. Both reeds, I'll probably go through a little quicker, and then I'll do the bugle tubes. And then last thing, I'll do the challenge bugles up over the hill because they'll be a little louder. Here we go. Definitely a little harder to use this, but I know I could belt with this when I'm doing a full bugle. Last up for the locator bugles right here will be the born and raised bomb. That was bad. Alright, so that proves to me that this one's a little bit harder to use, but I know from experience that when I want to get really loud and then add in those like deep inflections to get the growl, I know I could belt with this one. So yeah, anyway, so next up, I'm just going to go over the hill a little bit, and then what I'll do up there is I'll do the quick cow calls through all three bugles, do the locator bugles, then I'll do a challenge bugle, and then at the very end, each one I'll do a chuckle. I forgot about adding that up here, but that's fine. We don't need to worry about that close by. So stay tuned, let me get up there, and then I'll start calling. Alright guys, the last handful were with the metal tube, like the last 3 or 4 were with the metal tube, and then with the bomb. Just testing some more stuff out. I realized that my bugles aren't obviously amazing, they're not like all the professionals, but it's something I still work on, I'm trying to work on. But hopefully you guys get an idea of the difference between the 3 of these. And so, I wanted to do the video mostly to just test out what might sound the best and be the best for me for this year between these 3 tubes. Now I've used other calls. I've used Carlton, I've used Rocky Mountain, I've used Glenberry, and they're all decent calls. Those ones I've used, they're all decent calls, but once Phelps came out and started making calls and people started using this stuff, I switched to that, and that was when I was using those calls, I wasn't that into hunting. Well, I was into hunting, I just wasn't taking it as serious as I am now, and I wasn't like actively trying to call elk. I was just out there hunting just to try to fill the tag, which is nothing wrong with that. Now I'm trying to, like, call elk in, get a bull, fill my tag every year. And so when I went to Phelps calls, they just had a reed. So the first one I started using was the gray one. And it just worked for me, mostly for the cow calls. I didn't really start bugling a ton until the last handful of years, and obviously I still need to work on that. But so to cut the story short, besides those other brands, they all work. My best advice for you is to, if you can afford it, try each one of them. Go buy them, try them out, try different reeds, try different combinations. Like maybe the Phelps reed works really good with the Carlton call tube or whatever. Me personally, I like to stick with the same brand, I guess you could say, minus the born and raised calls. And the reason why is because those guys worked hand in hand together for a while there, and so Phelps was making the calls for born and raised. Now they branched off and they have their own call company. Part of it is I want to support both of those companies, and part of it is I want to use and I like both their products. So this year's goal, I'm going to carry, just off of the test today, I'm going to carry the metal tube and I'm going to carry the bomb. Sounds stupid to do both, but I had last year with Kyler, we were calling all the way into this gated road, and we didn't get no responses with the unleashed tube or the metal tube. And then we started walking out, and I believe I used the metal tube and just ripped a long, kind of a nasty bugle as close as I can get anyway. And then it was probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes of walking back up the road to go up the ridge. The bull piped off. I don't know if he piped off because he heard me or if he piped off by himself. That's beside the point. But I wanted to use both of them. So this year I'm going to do the same. I'm going to ditch the unleashed tube for 2 reasons. One, the metal tube I think has some unique tones, and the easy read is really easy to use for me to get that stepper, that typical primo style, which I know people don't like, but I feel like that tone might catch some guys, some bugles, some elk out there, their ears, And then the born raised of the bomb, it sounds to me like it's not loud right at you. It projects it forward, is what it sounds like to me. And I'll go through the video and I'll try to add in text to each one so you know what bugle tube I'm using as I'm doing the calls. But yeah, to me it sounds like it's pushing that sound straight out, and it gives you good volume, good back pressure. Like I said, I'm not super great at bugling or chuckling or any of that, but I do my best, and I'm still working on it. So, and from what I'm hearing is the bomb might be the best overall, because I'm getting the sound quality, the realistic tones that I want, and I'm getting the volume, that sound that projects out like I want to, which is why I like the metal tube, is it seems to just pierce, you know, and I don't know if it's the metal part of the tube or if it's when I use that easy read is what's piercing, but I'll watch the tape back through, or the video back through, and I'll try to figure it out myself, just based off the audio tones off the camera. But yeah, I like all three, but I'm definitely going to stick with this year the born raised one and the metal Phelps tube, and I'll probably use both variants of the metal tube. I'll probably use the easy read, and I'll probably pop it off and try it with just my mouth read throughout this next year. And I'm obviously going to practice a lot more. I haven't been practicing at all since the end of last season, just because it was a blender of a season for me where we didn't see any elk and didn't have much action, so it kind of bummed me out. So I kind of lost a little bit of motivation to do some calling and practicing and all that stuff. So anyways, that's beside the point. So I'm out here. Hopefully you guys didn't see me up on the hillside. I didn't see the camera, so hopefully it sounds more like off in the distance, like that's how I wanted it. So yeah, that's the video. Like I said, the purpose of the video is it might help you guys out. It's more so for me, but I want to just see what of those three that I have in my possession, that I own, that I know I like and use, which of those three is going to be the best to give me the best opportunity to get an opportunity on a bull. And then it breaks down into the reads. I didn't want to get too involved in it, so the reason why I'm using both, and even for this test, is to show a variance of reads, and there's definitely a different tone. Believe it or not, the born and raised one towards the end there started to break up, and I don't know if it was because I soaked it with my saliva, or if every time I pull it out it starts freezing because it's so cold out here, or if I'm stretching the latex from calling so hard, which that might be the case. But the Maverick continued to perform. I had one the first year I got the Maverick when I went through the gambit of calls from Phelps. I bought like one of these at the very beginning of spring, and I started practicing with it for my cow calls, and then I started ripping bugles on it, and I wore the crap out of it, and it held up all the way up into like, I think it was June, late June, when it finally like started to not sound good, and the latex kind of felt funny, like maybe I stretched it from so much air pressure. So I know this is the tried and true. This is probably going to be my go-to. It'll probably be like the one I use 90% of the time. But I like options. I like to, if I'm not getting any responses, I want to try something new, try something else, something that has a different tone maybe. Even if I can't tell it's a different tone, the elk might be able to tell it's a different tone. So that's why I went and got these born and raised ones. And like I said, I like to support, all these companies that I enjoy. I enjoy their content. I enjoy what they do, what they stand for. And so it's my way of supporting them. Whether or not I use it all the time, it doesn't matter. But it does give me a chance to test them against something else that I know works. And this one is extremely easy to use. And I don't know if it's that arc frame. I don't know if it's that arc frame on there, or the way they built it, the latex. I don't know, but it's really, really easy to use. But like I said, I think it started to break up on me towards the end. So I might buy a couple more and test it out some more. And I also have their red reed, the Land of the Free reed, which, from what Cody was telling me, it's kind of similar to the Maverick, where it's a tighter, I think he said it was a tighter stretch on the latex, which means you have to put a little more inflection, a little more pressure behind the air, pushing over the reed. But yeah, that's what I'm out here for. So hopefully you guys get some value out of this video. Like I said, it's more so a video for myself, but I also want to help you guys out, especially the hunters that haven't been successful in filling a tag and maybe don't have a ton of luck calling elk in yet, especially in the Pacific Northwest where we're calling rosies. I feel like you know, using these different bugle tubes, testing what works for you, and finding the one that is basically going to carry throughout the canyon best. It's probably going to be the one that gets the Roosevelts to pipe off, because they're always deep in the bottom of canyons, and they may only be 400 yards away, but they sound a mile away because of the breakup of, you know, timber and whatnot. So, yeah, that's the video. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more calling stuff, let me know in the comments below. Like the video, and I also was going to throw in, I didn't really want to bring it up, but I'll throw in right now. So I have a cleft palate, so it's harder for me to use a mouth reed than most people. The roof of my mouth is not a dome shape. It's a whole thing, and I actually did a video on it, and I'll put it in the description below, the link for it, so you can check it out if you're that curious about calling, having issues calling with a mouth reed because of some kind of deformity in your mouth, like me. I know there's people that probably don't have teeth. They've had them removed, or a birth defect like me, or the roof of the mouth is just different than everybody else's, and they might not have the ability to use a mouth reed, or they think they can't. So I did a video on it, and I'll put it in the link in the description so you guys can check that out as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. And if you, like I said, if you want to do me a huge favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your buddies, especially the ones that, especially your buddies that are kind of getting into hunting with you or whatever, and you want someone to help you call, and they're kind of new to it. Have them check this video out. Maybe they'll get something out of it. And yeah, go support your favorite elk call company, Phelps and Born and Raised, man. I'm not gonna split it. I'm not gonna say one's better than the other. It is what it is. I just use mostly the Maverick, and this year I might be using the Maverick most, or I might be using this one, or the red Born and Raised one, or the black Born and Raised one. Who knows? So, thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, I really appreciate everybody, and all the time you guys take to check out my videos, and hopefully this helps you guys out. So, have a good one. Later.